What is happening, everyone? Welcome to GBALL VISION. Today, we are taking a look at the masterfully done Brass Brigade Grant Tripper. This thing is very well executed. It is finished and done very well. It's using some very premium materials, and it's coming in at a good price, and they are also available right now for $250. And for what you are getting, that is a pretty damn good price. Jason Grant is the designer. Best Tech is the OEM. They are using 20 CV steel. It does say on the website S35VN. That was the original intent for the steel, but at the last minute it was changed to 20 CV. That has been confirmed by Jason Grant. And then you have your run-of-the-mill full titanium accents, titanium handle and pocket clip along with the hardware. This one is all DLC coated, looks very good, and as I said, it is very well made. Now I'd like to come right out of the gate with this. I don't prefer the size of this knife and the width of this knife. It's not necessarily the length that bothers me, because as I handled this knife more and I started to, before the video, compare knives that are in this size, a knife that I truly love is just about the same exact size. But where the Nimble here from EMP EDC has something on the Tripper is the width of the handle. It's just a little bit more, it's more hand feeling. It fills up the hand a lot more than the Tripper does. And I think, initially I was really worried about the length. And it's not so much the length. With the finger choil there, I can get, a full purchase. It's not the most comfortable purchase, though, on this knife. And if we are talking about the standard grip, and I'm not one to complain typically about ergos. Nothing hurts, so to speak. But, squeezing down on this knife, I can really feel that pocket clip digging into my hand. Now, does it hurt? No. I can feel it, though, and I think eventually it would become quite a nuisance if you were using this knife hard. Now, what are the chances you're going to use this knife really hard for an extended period? Probably slim to none. But on the off chance that you would be using this knife and using it fairly hard for an all-day type of, carry, using it on and off at work, that sort of thing, I think eventually it would get fatiguing. Now, I love the blade shape. I love the design. I wish the handle was a little bit thicker, and I wish it was a little bit longer. Just a little bit. Now, if he comes out with a large Tripper or an XL Tripper, I might be all over that thing, because that means this would be upscaled and a little longer, and that means the blade would be a little longer. As it sits, like I said earlier, it's very well made. It's using some great materials. It's OEM'd by an awesome company who routinely does good work. The designer is an American guy, great dude, Jason Grant. He's very well known across the knife community, does a fantastic job with his designs. He is now making his own fixed blades in-house, which is awesome. I'll link his Instagram down below, and you can go check out some of his work if you are interested in a handmade fixed blade that is just out of this world good, along with some fantastic pricing. Now, this is a 20 CV compound ground Tanto. You do have the coffin there, but that is more for aesthetics. Now, if you're really good at reverse flicking, you can definitely get right there on the ridge, and you can get it. As far as the thumb flick, if you really pay attention and stay off the lock bar, you can flick it out. I would say, it depends. If you have massive, massive hands and fingers, you are probably going to struggle, flicking this out with the reverse or the thumb. And I have bigger hands, but definitely there are bigger hands out there. And I'm fairly skilled at flicking knives out at this point. But I would say this is more of a rear flipper knife and a front flipper knife with the occasional reverse and thumb flick depending on the person. Now, he does put a nice chamfer there on the lock bar, easy to disengage, great action around the pivot there, ceramic detent ball, has nice ceramic bearings in there, very fluid action, nice drop shut action. Bestech does a fantastic job on their builds, on their action, on their edges. Bestech just does a great job all around sourcing, what they do as far as the build and materials are concerned. Then you have the nice little titanium clip with the Grant logo there. The action's great, and it's going to carry fairly well. You do have the numbering there. Shout out to Mikey Reese for sending this in for me to check out. So therefore, this is not my knife. I haven't, carried this outside of my house. I have used it and, tested out that edge, tested out that pokey tip a little bit. Nothing crazy, nothing hardcore, just for the simple fact this is not mine. But for, the price, if this is something that interests you, if you can't have knives that have a blade length longer than 3 inches, or you prefer a smaller carry, this is definitely one to take a look at. Now, obviously, you have to like a Tanto blade, and that is a very well executed Tanto blade. You have 2 nice pronounced tips there, and then you have 2 really nice edges that are both going to be very usable. A lot of Tantos will have a small secondary edge up here that's not necessarily, unusable, but typically it's not the most usable edge on some designs. Now, he has designed this and made it a very usable secondary edge. So why don't we go ahead and we'll, after that long-winded description, let's take a little spec check here. As I said, this is under 3 inches, and not that I don't like smaller knives. I typically don't go for them unless it's something that, the Nimble, the F5.5, that's about as small as I go. But what those 2 knives have in common over this one is they have a little bit of a thicker handle with not as much curvature and flare in them, and it just makes them easier to carry and handle, in my opinion. So you're getting just over 2.5 inches of actual cutting edge, just over, I would say like 9/16, and then you're about 2 7/8 for your total blade length, and you're coming down under 6 3/4 for your overall. So this knife is definitely not a big knife. I wish that it was a little bit bigger, and I'm sure that's probably in his mind. Now, it is a lighter knife, 3.1. That is definitely pretty lightweight for a full titanium knife. Now, that's a great ratio for sure. But I am nowhere a ratios kind of person. Let's check the blade stock very quickly here. And we are coming in around 136, 137 thousandths. And let's just get a quick measurement behind the edge there. And it's coming down pretty thin, around like 15 thousandths right there on the first edge there. It's coming down pretty thin. And from the times that I have used this, it is definitely a very slicey knife. Now, let's go ahead and we'll throw it up against a few other knives. There's the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and XHP, the Cutlery Shop exclusive. And then there is the Spyderco Para 3. Definitely going to be more comparable to the Para 3. There is the Ritter Hogue. And we have the Hogue Deca. Both going to be quite a bit bigger than this guy is. How about we throw a couple oddballs in there? The Concept Fenrir. And how about the AM8 Flicks 2? Going to be quite a bit smaller than both of those. And then the fairest comparison that I could come up with is going to be to the EMP EDC Nimble. But like I said, guys, the Nimble is just quite a bit, it's thicker and more neutral. It's just different. And, you know, the clip, I can feel it in my hand a hell of a lot more. I don't even feel the Nimble clip in my hand no matter what position I'm in. You know, in both grips, I can feel that clip digging into my knuckles there. Now, like I said, it doesn't hurt my hand. It's just more uncomfortable than anything, you know, especially if you were to use it for a long period. But all in all, you know, and I don't know exactly what the design language is speaking to for this knife. I think that this knife was designed more on a tactical mindset and an EDC knife. I don't think this knife was designed, you know, for an EDC and work knife. Could it be used for a work knife? Yeah, it could be. You know, you'd want to be very careful with that tip. This Tanto edge, though, is going to be nice for like scraping or chiseling at something. And then you have a nice little utility edge there that's nice and straight. And then, of course, for poking and piercing, definitely going to be good at that. Now, like I said, I think this is going to be more of a tactical base knife for just kind of poking and slashing. I think that's what the design is geared more towards. And then, of course, you could easily use this as an EDC knife, just kind of an everyday carry knife that you do some cutting here and there with, you know, poking into some boxes, cutting open some boxes, breaking down some cardboard, you know, your everyday cutting open some like clamshell packages. This would be very good at that, poking into them and kind of slicing them down with this edge. It would be very good at some things and just not the greatest at others. The size is not quite there for me. You know, I wish it had, if we were keeping this same blade length, I wish it had a little bit of a more neutral handle or a thicker handle. I think a thicker handle would have really changed my perspective of this knife. Now, with all things considered, I like this knife. I think it's well made. I think it's a great design. I love the look of the knife. I think it's a great looking knife. You have some nice little touches. You have the cross-cut frag texture done. Love the Tanto blade. Love the coffin hole. You know, I like the milled clip. Open construction with lots of milling. It's lightweight. You know, I like it. It's just a little small for me. But that's just my personal preference. Taking nothing away from the knife, I think it's a very well done knife, well designed knife, and I think a lot of people have been happy with this knife. I know quite a few people who have this knife, and they have been pleasantly surprised with it. They like the knife. So it's going to be in the eyes of the beholder. But like I said, these knives are available right now, I believe, in both configurations. They have an all stone washed version, and then he has the all black version, and they are both in stock at $250. That's a great price for, you know, what you're getting here. Multi-deployment, 20 CV, titanium handle and pocket clip, best tech built. So I think it's a great deal, a great design, just not for me, and that is okay. Not everything has to be for me. That'll wrap it up, guys. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of this guy. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this guy. And if you're new to the channel or you've been here before and you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below the video. I would love to have you here. Otherwise, guys, I will catch you on the next one.